Hi, in this video, I'm going to explain a reading comprehension passage. Now, generally in the examination, I would be reading the questions first to get a sense of what I'm looking for in the passage. You could do the same by skipping ahead in the video and looking at the questions. Alternatively, you can also pause the video when I read aloud the reading comprehension and read it quickly for yourself. So here's the passage. Often we passionately pursue matters that in the future appear to be contradictory to our real intention or nature, and triumph is followed by remorse or regret. There are numerous examples of such a trend in the annals of history and contemporary life. Alfred Nobel was the son of Emmanuel Nobel, an inventor who experimented extensively with explosives. Alfred too carried out research and experiments with a large range of chemicals. He found new methods to blast rocks for the construction of roads and bridges. He was engaged in the development of technology and different weapons. His life revolved around rockets and cannons and gunpowder. The ingenuity of the scientist brought him enough wealth to buy the Bofors armament plant in Sweden. Paradoxically, Nobel's life was a busy one. And as he grew older, he began suffering from guilt of having invented the dynamite that was being used for destructive purposes. He set aside a huge part of his wealth to institute Nobel Prizes. Besides honoring men and women for their extraordinary achievements in physics, chemistry, medicine, and literature, he wished to honor people who worked for the promotion of peace. It's strange that the very man whose name was closely connected with explosives and inventions that helped in waging wars willed a large part of his earnings for the people who work for the promotion of peace and the benefit of mankind. The Nobel Peace Prize is intended for a person who has accomplished the best work for fraternity among nations, for abolition or reduction of war, and for promotion of peace. Another example that comes to one's mind is that of Albert Einstein. In 1939, fearing that Nazis would win the race to build the world's first atomic bomb, Einstein urged President Franklin D. Roosevelt to launch an American program on nuclear research. The matter was considered, and a project called the Manhattan Project was initiated. The project involved intense nuclear research, the construction of the world's first atomic bomb. All this while, Einstein had the impression that the bomb would be used to protect the world from the Nazis. But in 1945, when Hiroshima was bombed to end World War II, Einstein was deeply aggrieved, and he regretted his endorsement of the need for nuclear research. He also stated that had he known that the Germans would be unsuccessful in making the atomic bomb, he would have probably never recommended making one. In 1947, Einstein began working for the cause of disarmament. But Einstein's name still continues to be linked with the bomb. Man's fluctuating thoughts, changing opinions, varying opportunities keep the mind in a state of flux. Hence, the paradox of life. It's certain that nothing is certain in life. Questions. The first one. The Manhattan Project was initiated. The second part of the passage where you start talking about Einstein clearly indicates that it was for nuclear research, right? Because it was Einstein's suggestions. And it was in retaliation of the fear that the Nazis would first build a bomb. So it was not in honor of Einstein or to protect the Nazis and definitely not to bomb Hiroshima. It was to carry out nuclear research. Second, Alfred established the Nobel Prizes Alfred Nobel invented a lot of explosives and he had a guilty conscience. So he did establish the Nobel Prize to promote work for the betterment of mankind and to ease his guilt. It was not to remind people of his achievements or to use it for hardworking people or honor only those people who are intelligent. The third question. In paragraph 4, the word accomplished means what? The word accomplished means completed successfully. Even without referring to the passage, basic knowledge of vocabulary will help you answer this question. Fourth, in the fifth paragraph, the word endorsement means what? So, to endorse something is to say that I agree with this, I support this. So, option B, expressing one's approval or support, is the right answer. Fifth one, working with arms and ammunition helped Alfred to amass what? Very clearly, he gained a lot of money, which later he used to establish the Nobel Prize. So, working with arms and ammunition helped Alfred to amass, option C, wealth. Sixth, Immanuel's interest in dynamites influenced Alfred's inclination for working with what? Well, clearly dynamite is an explosive, and if a person is interested in dynamite and influencing others, then it should be for working with explosives. So clearly option B, explosives. One of the paradoxes in Alfred's life was that he was not lonely yet rich is not exactly paradoxical. Hardworking but a failure, no. Intelligent yet lonely, no. Paradox is when two opposite ideas have to be with each other. So when you're occupied, busy, and lonely, alone, those are slightly opposite in nature to each other. So for the seventh one, occupied yet lonely, option B is the best possible option. Eighth one, Einstein had the impression that the Germans would. Very clearly in the passage says that Einstein said he would never have made the bomb if he had known that the Germans would be unsuccessful in making the bomb. So he obviously was under the impression that they would be successful in making the world's first atomic bomb. Option B is definitely the right answer. The passage is what? The passage clearly gives a lot of details in the lives of two different people, Nobel and Einstein. It does not argue anything, it does not explain processes, and it does not try to talk about a concept. It simply gives details about the lives of two people. So it's a descriptive essay. Option D, descriptive, is the best possible answer. 10th, the paradox, it's certain that nothing is certain in life, indicates the writer's what? Well, he has clearly given how two people had differences in their lives, what they did in the beginning and what they ended up doing. So, and he's giving the example. So it's an analytical mind. He definitely does not hate scientists. He's not trying to persuade anybody to do anything, and he's not talking about science per se. So it clearly shows the analytical bent of mind of the writer.